Welcome.
Thanks.
We have Doug Atwood with us from Legacy Homes. We're really glad to have you. This is the industry-leading podcast with Silvercreek Realty. Let's start at a very high level and learn. Just tell us a little bit about how you got into the building industry.
Similar to a lot of builders out there, I was raised in it. My dad was a builder. We lived in Colorado and Utah growing up, and he was a builder, not in specifically new construction, but he was kind of a remodeler, handyman type, additions. And as I just kind of tagged along on kind of with him and what he did during the day, I found myself in a lot of situations listening to homeowners talk about what their dreams were of their existing home and how we were going to get there. And so that's kind of my background, which proved key for me as I've now ventured into new home construction, the skill to really listen to what these homeowners want and to be able to create that started at a pretty young age for me. So just on the job sites my whole life.
So as you're on those job sites, was there a particular trade that really called to you or something that you just, enjoyed doing?
No. In fact, it's interesting. I loved watching every single one of them. I remember for hours and hours and hours, I would stand and just watch people work. I would watch plumbers do their soldering of the old copper appliance. I would watch electricians drill their holes. And in my mind, I just got it. I understood what they were doing. And I was so fascinated with watching them work. I would literally stand there for hours. I would rather be doing that than playing video games or outside doing anything else. And so going to work with my dad was not work. It was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to learn today watching these guys work?
Was there a particular moment where you had that calling, like, this is what I'm going to do? Or has it been forever since you could remember?
No, there was a moment, but it wasn't until years later. I didn't realize when I was that young on job sites, and this lasted throughout high school. I mean, when I was 12 years old, my dad bought a house, and it was an unfinished basement, so it was just concrete walls with not even a window well,
which is common to Utah.
Very, very common to Utah. And so my dad bought a stack of 2x4s, some electrical wire, and some sheetrock, and he had it loaded downstairs. No, that's not true. He made me take it downstairs. And he basically drew some pencil lines on the floor, in the concrete. And he goes, "This is where your bedroom will be. Build it." I was 12.
Oh, that is cool.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I literally built the walls. I ran the electrical wire. I planned out exactly where my closet was. I built a little secret compartment in the wall in my closet for my piggy bank, at the time. And I ran the electrical wire. I hung the sheetrock myself. I taped it. I sanded it. And let me tell you, there was a lot of sanding. I even textured the sheetrock ceiling. I remember I went down to Fred Meyer at the time. I bought this sponge and I dipped it into the sheetrock mud and twisted it and twisted it on the ceiling, just kind of creating some kind of texture.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like you were raised in the atmosphere to really make.
That's right.
I mean, skipping now ahead to Legacy Homes to what it is now today. Tell us a little bit about Legacy Homes today.
So transitioning from growing up, I actually thought I was going to be a teacher. I love to teach. I love to work with kids. And so I took several years to do my schooling. I finally got my degree in my late 20s. And I thought that was my path. There was a period of time, and it was a week. It was a week where the school, I was student teaching in Utah, and I was promised a full-time teaching position. Mm-hmm. And at the end of this week, it was a Friday, I had been recruited by a builder up here in Boise who knew me, and he grew up with me, a little bit older, but he kind of saw me grow up. He knew my skills, and he was a builder here in the town back in the 2000s when everything was booming, and he knew that he wanted me to work for him. I didn't know that I wanted to work for him, but so at the end of that week, it came down to like, am I getting hired or what's happening. And I didn't get hired. And I didn't not get hired. It was just this, it was kind of, I went into the weekend with this limbo. So I jumped in the car and I drove to Boise, and I met with, this individual friend of mine, and he owned a building company in Eagle. Something just flipped a switch in me that weekend. I drove home. I knew, and I brought my wife with me. So I just knew I'm coming to Boise, Idaho, which I grew up making fun of. Boise, Idaho, what's that? A bunch of potato farmers. That's what,
Sure.
Just unknowingly, but that was a pivotal weekend where I came up here and decided building is for me.
Is there any correlation between teaching and general contracting?
Oh my gosh, it's the exact same thing. I'm babysitting what you would think would be mature individuals, and I just babysit them all day long. And I love these guys. I love my subcontractors, but literally, I left a job site this morning before I came here, and I've got an RC Willie guy backing up, and he's angry at the tile guy's truck because the tile guy's truck is parked in his way. But, the tile guy showed up at 5 o'clock this morning. He's just working his tail off. Yeah. And this delivery driver is upset with him that he parked in the wrong spot because he can't make it. And so there I am. I'm directing, and nothing to do with building. I'm dealing with personalities. I'm dealing with their emotions. They want to get their job done. I'm managing people. That's what I do. And I have enough knowledge in the construction industry that I can build homes while I do it.
Along those lines with the subcontractor, with the market being a little bit slower as it is right now, are you seeing a better crop of subcontractors now, or is it still difficult to attain?
Great question. That's one of the all-time greatest questions, because in construction, I call it the time of the contractor or the time of the subcontractor. And there really are two phases, and it ebbs and flows back and forth. About 6 months ago, it switched. It used to be, leading up to that, the time of the subcontractor, which means they make the rules. Right. They dictate the price. They tell you when they're going to be there. They tell you what they can do. They dictate all the rules. With the time of the subcontractor, which we are now entering into, I get to make the rules again. I get to tell them when they can show up and when they can't. I get to determine the price and different things. And of course, it ebbs and flows back and forth, so it's not like 100% one way or the other. But right now we're entering into an area where the subcontractors are looking for work. They're hungry. They don't have the supply of work that they've typically had. And I get to be much more selective. Yeah.
Being that this is the time of the contractor, how does that benefit your client?
Every decision that's ever made ever comes back to one thing and one end goal, and that is client satisfaction. Okay. When I can control the subcontractors and they can't control me, then I can control the client's emotions much easier. Okay. For instance,
I'm thinking of time frames, timeline.
Exactly. If a homeowner has expectations that certain things are going to happen, if the contractor is able to control those issues, then the clients, obviously their expectations are going to be met and they will be happier. If I can't control the subcontractors, but they control us and we're at their mercy, then I can't control my client's expectations.
Well, either way, you have to be the advocate.
That's right.
So one is a lot easier than the other, certainly.
It's a lot easier when I give them what they want rather than disappointing news.
When you're building unique homes, is there something that really gets you excited? Certain aspects of the build or certain styles or certain things that really get you going?
I looked over that. I saw that question earlier and I thought about the answer. And for me, no. For me, it's one thing and one thing always, and it's the client. It is the client's. At the end of the day, I don't really care how much money I make. There's money to be made in construction. That's not why I do this. I do this because it's a passion. I do this because since I was 12 years old, have been creating projects, creating dreams come true. My client dictates everything. It's their home. It's their dream. And so people say, well, what's your style? It's my client's. I am very good at listening to them and creating what they want. That's probably my biggest strength. It's not telling them what they should have.
Right.
It's not telling them what they need to do. Now, of course, they ask for advice all the time. But my end game is to have a client that when it's all said and done and they move in their house, because we're going to have some obstacles, when it's all said and done, they'll say, Doug and Nate at Legacy Homes are great guys, and they care about our home, and they care about us. And the friendship is, they last for a long time.
Is there a particular project that you are really proud of or excited about?
Gosh, I saw that question too, and I just don't know how to answer that. Because I've built so many different aspects
right.
of different things. I've built commercial buildings. One thing I was proud to do the Epic Shine Car Wash here in town.
Oh, yeah.
It was my company. I started it. I mean, I knew nothing about car washes. I knew nothing about.
That seems like a plumbing logistical nightmare.
Yeah. In fact,
the boilers and the piping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally got on an airplane and I flew to San Diego. I went to a car wash convention. It's the National Car Wash Convention. I knew nothing other than I thought it was a good idea. And so I kind of negotiated some land in Fred Meyer parking lot. And I'm like, okay, I kind of secured it up, put an option on it. And then I went and started learning about car washes. And I literally drew that car wash 1,000 times. I drew it on napkins. I drew it on a piece of paper, the entrance, the exit, everything. And I was really confined in that location to what it offered me as far as the size. But what a project. That was fun to completely create something out of nothing, out of just my own personal dream. And then to see I was eventually, we sold the project and it's since grown into what it is today. But to create that project on my own and with a couple of guys that just sitting around a table talking about it was pretty fun.
That's interesting because I do music composition, and so I can never listen to a song and just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I'm always hearing the different instruments, the different patterns, the different rhythms, and so I'm similar in that way. When there isn't a time that I go through a car wash and just kind of zone out. I'm looking at the different architecture. I'm looking how it's working. It's very fascinating to me. So it's interesting that you brought that up because that's always been something that's been interesting to me. The reality is that every builder has a different personality, and some mesh well and others do not. And I think it's disingenuous to say I'm for everybody because that's just not, that's not feasible. Mm-hmm. So who is your ideal client?
Somebody who's looking to have not just build a home, but have an experience. Somebody who wants to really enjoy the building experience, and maybe that they have a little bit of a personality that has some flexibility. So many people get so rigid and so disappointed if something doesn't go perfectly their way. And the reality is construction never goes perfect. People, my subs and clients all the time, they'll say, well, we got to do this, this, and this, so this never happens again. I'm like, okay, that's great. And I appreciate that. But the game's not going to change. It never has changed. I mean, Leaning Tower of Pisa is leaning for a reason because there was something that went wrong in that foundation process where the ground settled and the tower leaned. It's been around forever. There's going to be problems all the time. So what's my perfect client? Somebody who understands that life exists. Nothing goes perfect, but let's enjoy the process. You've heard the term making lemonade out of lemons, right? Let's do it, and let's do it over and over again. Now, we do have to know a little bit what we're doing, and we do. The knowledge is there to have a great experience, but I'm looking for somebody who wants to enjoy the experience, relax, and let their dream be built.
Well, the reality is a home is a living, breathing organism.
That's right.
I mean, it's manifested in itself when you sleep at night and you hear something creak and you hear something settle. I mean, it's just the way that it is. So I like that approach and I like that attitude. Is there anything fun about you that we need to know about?
Interesting. I'm a fun person. I really am. I mean, I know I've had some run-ins out there, and not everybody knows that, but most people who know me realize that that I'm there. I want to have fun. I'm the class clown. I'm going to goof off. I'm not going to probably take it too extreme now. I finally learned how to curb that a little bit, but I want to just live life and have fun. And if it ever gets not fun, I'm going to be gone. I'll jump that fence. You'll never see me again.
There's an old adage called the iron triangle that says you can have it cheap, you can have it good, or you can have it fast. Or you can't have these. Which of the two do you want?
We want to do it good, and we want to do it right. And so
you stated the question.
I want to do it right, and I want to do it good. I'll tell you, if somebody is looking to win a sprinting game, I'm probably not your builder. I want to do it right. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take forever.
Right.
But I definitely we're going to put our name on this. We're going to put our legacy together.
Right.
And I named the company for a specific reason. It was because that's what I create. I don't create homes. I create a legacy. And that legacy takes time. I tell people all the time, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your $2 or $3 or $4 million house be. Right. So if you can relax, enjoy the process, let's do this right, you're going to be happy.
Again, this is Doug Atwood with Legacy Homes. I appreciate you being here with us today. What is the best way our listeners can reach out to you?
You know what? My cell phone, my email. I have a partner in Nate Sampson and myself. By the way, Nate's been friends with me since that same 12-year-old birthday. So
wow.
We've grown up in this, doing it together. But just go online, legacyh.com. You can look at our galleries. You can contact us by email. Both our cell phone numbers are on there and easy to talk to, easy to get a hold of.
Great. Well, Doug, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.